What's going on out there, y'all? I'm back with another quick volume of Welcome to the Franchise here. With this one, I just want to get straight into some more NFL draft stuff, but mainly focusing on New York football. We know that between both of these franchises here, it's just been a fucking joke. It's been terrible. And it just seems like year after year, more recently for the Giants, I'll say. We already know the history with the Jets, but we'll get to that later. But more recently with the Giants, it just seems like year after year, their draft choices, the way they decide to go directionally in the off season and other places, it's not a good look. They going downhill, and some of these choices they've been making the past few years, they really catching wreck and fucking up the whole franchise here. So I want to tap into where I think, me and my eyes, where they should go, and not necessarily for a big impact maybe this year, but for the future to set them up and everything like that, what I think they really should do. So with that being said, let me tap straight into it. And I'm just touching on this because, of course, I'm from around that area and everything like that. If you haven't noticed or been able to pick it up, not that I'm a big fan of these teams like that, but it's always good when New York sports is good. I mean, the Knicks are in the playoffs right now. It's fun to see that, even though we can't really put all our faith in that they're going to get over the hump there and take it all the way to the championship. But it would be fun to see New York sports, in a good place, especially in football. So, I'm going to just talk about what I think they should do, what I would do, and trying to better out a roster. So at some point soon, they could be a fucking championship contender instead of looking crazy and looking silly out here. So let me get straight into it. I think that in this year's draft, what they really need to do, but I don't think they will do, but what they really need to do is try and trade back and get some more picks. They really need to focus in on building this roster. I think with more picks that they focus on building the roster, they have a chance to compete right now while also building to compete in the future. And what I mean by compete is, I don't mean that you're gonna be a 8 to 10 win team or anything like that or sneak in the playoffs. I don't mean that. I mean be one of those teams that's maybe a 6 win team, but you have other players on the roster that you drafted, or also with the players that you signed. As I feel like they had a pretty solid, strong free agency. But what I mean is, you could be a 6 or 7 win team that when you look at the games, you're like, damn, these motherfuckers are gonna be a problem soon or in the near future with the draft picks and the talent that they brought in this year's draft. If they're able to get more picks, or let's say they for the most part stay in their slots and everything like that where they're at. But I think that they need to start building that team now so that next year they'll be able to make a big jump. Because the NFC is a division where it's really, really tough, but at the same time, there's opportunities there to slide in there as a wild card and then start building your franchise to get ready to have a mindset of being in the playoffs every time. So let me start off with what they should do in round one. Like I said, I think they should trade back as much as they can, get as many picks as they can. First option for me would be, hey, trade back with Jacksonville, or even trade back even farther. Of course, just like I know everybody else is doing here, I did the mock draft simulator. We could do it on your own. I kept it real vanilla here for the Giants. Putting in mind what I think their mindset is, seen through the years, how they like to build their roster, what they probably want to do in the future as well, on top of what I think would be a good look for them with my own mindset. So I kind of meshed that together and kept it a little vanilla. But with the mock draft simulator, I had got a deal from the Cardinals that said they wanted to come up from pick number 16. I don't know who the fuck they were trying to get. I don't think it's that deep for them right now. But from pick 16 to number 3, they wanted to come up, and I would get a boatload of second round and third round picks is what they were offering for this year. I don't even think there was a pick in there for 2026. Now, I would take that shit. But for the purposes of this volume, just to keep it a little bit simple here and everything like that for right now, I turned it down, just decided to pick what the slots where I was at. I think there was one trade that I accepted later on in the rounds, but let me go through it here. So round one, pick number 3, if you can't trade back, or if they don't trade back, and if he falls to you, I think that, it's an easy money pick right here. It's Abdul Carter. You might as well just go ahead and get Abdul Carter. If Travis Hunter is there, I'm taking that too because he's the best player in the draft. But also knowing that other players probably really want him, even though I think that Travis Hunter is the way everyone's talking is foregone that he's going to the Browns. Hate that for him to start his career. But even if Travis Hunter is there, I'm definitely pulling the trigger then to trade back for some more picks because everybody wants him, and I just don't see where he's gonna be able to, you know what I mean, in the next 3 to 5 years work for us because if we got to draft Arch in 2 years, that's 2 years of his career with no real good quarterback player competing in the playoffs. You got to take into account if injuries come involved with him playing both sides of the ball. I think that let's either get Carter where we got another defensive player, where we got other defensive players around him and everything, get our version of Micah, and he'll hone his skills for the next few years, next 3 years until we get our quarterback. But a receiver right here, receiver back-to-back years, you already got an elite one, now you want to get two, and that could also play corner but may rack up injuries playing defense also. I would take the trade back for number 3 instead of taking Travis Hunter. So that's what I'm saying. If he falls to your lap and Travis Hunter goes before, which that's most likely going to happen, take Abdul Carter. And I think how they moving right now in real life, they bullshitting and pump faking what Shedeur saying is. I don't think they're gonna take him. Like I said, I don't, unless it's just a new age and a new day. I never seen the Giants take a quarterback like that to be their franchise future to start, and they really want to be that face of their franchise for 10 plus years. So I don't see it happening, but we may be surprised. So let me move to round 2. Right here, I think they could go running back. They could use some juice at that position there, some juice or some power. Get someone like Travion Henderson right here at Ohio State wouldn't be bad. Also, a receiver, they could definitely use another complimentary receiver on the other side of Malik Neighbors. They still got some receivers there. They're not really getting over the hump there with Hyatt and Wendell Robinson. You still got Slayton, who's productive. He's a veteran. But I think you could also go Trey Harris here. So either Trey Harris or Travion Henderson. I also put in Quinshon Judkins here, who I think will be a nice added element of force and power at the running back position. And he's a little bit dynamic as well. But maybe a reach there for him at the top of the second round, maybe more in the third round. As someone you could pick him up there. And then speaking of that, round 3, I'm picking Emory Jones at offensive tackle. That's a position of need where you could use that. So either Emory Jones at tackle or Cam Williams out of Texas at the offensive tackle spot right there. I think that would be a good look. It ain't working out with this Evan Neal dude. It could be different, though. It could turn around if they still decide to keep him. I think he's still on the roster. If they don't trade him during this draft weekend or don't trade him in the off-season or during training camp and shit, I think that Emory Jones would be a good pickup for them right there, or Cameron Williams at offensive tackle. Round 4, I think this right here is a good slot for you to pick a quarterback, a young quarterback. Young, what the guy I'm about to say. This is where you pick a quarterback here, and it would be the Tyler Shuck dude right here. I think Tyler Shuck at this slot right here will kind of make sense because, with his age, he's up there, he's 26, but he's going to be a rookie. It still allows them a window that after next year, you know what I mean, with Russ and Jameis, you have them right now. Maybe they don't come back next year, or maybe they are there next year, whatever their deals are. I think with their deals, they have options to probably cut them after the year, depending on how this season plays out. But even still, if they both come back next year, or one of them comes back next year, and you still have Tyler Shuck, it still allows you a window that if Arch doesn't come out or whoever else doesn't come out next year, you have the year after that where Shuck could probably start a season or two. But he's old enough where it's like by that time he's going to be damn near 30. And it's like, okay, it still makes sense to move off the guy or still just keep him around as a backup when you draft the guy you really want in next year's draft or the draft after that. Not bad to have a dude like that who I think he has some arm talent, he has some game, man. He could bowl a little bit. Tyler Shuck, I mean, obviously when you've been in college for that long and you're playing against kids now and you're a grown adult, you're going to look good. But he has some arm talent there where it wouldn't be bad to have him as a nice backup. on your team for a while now. So Tyler Shuck, but I think you take him in the fourth round. You don't do no crazy shit and take him in the second or the first round like all these motherfuckers are trying to say. You don't do that shit. Take him in the fourth round right here. I think is a good look. Round 5 right here. Going with a tight end, either Gunnar Helm out of Texas, or if you don't, let's say you don't get Trey Harris there, in the second round, you still go with that running back with Travion Henderson. You take someone like Isaiah Bond, who's been sliding down, but still was a productive receiver the past couple years at Texas. Isaiah Bond or Dante Thornton out of Tennessee, smooth route runner, smooth playmaker, has some speed to him, big body also out of Tennessee. I've seen him getting picked up on a few boards looking at the mock draft, so it seems like people do know about him, so it'll be a nice little sleeper still. But if he's not available, I think Isaiah Bond will still be there. Or like I said, you get another receiving threat at a tight end, and Gunnar Helm could be there. And then later on in the round 6, that's where you go for D tackle. I mean, if anyone's out there that's been out there listening to my volumes, I really don't value having to take a defensive tackle in the first 3 rounds like that, unless your roster is so set up and complete everywhere else that it's like, fuck it, let's take the D tackle here. That's man nice in the second round or third round. So in the 6th round, I have them taking J.J. McGee out of Ole Miss, who his name has started coming up in the offseason and in some boards as somebody that's pretty good. So I think that's where you go with defensive tackle there. Other players that I have my eye on for them as well, but I don't think they would be there, but wouldn't be a bad look at all. Oronde Gadsden the second. Also, I was thinking about that tight end, another receiving threat right there. There were a couple cornerbacks I was looking at on Tommy Hill out of Nebraska. But I think that with the signings that they made, I was able to check back with the signings that they made and some of the guys they already have at cornerback that may be short up there. Same thing at safety. I like the pick I had made here with between either Emory Jones or Cam Williams at offensive tackle. So that looks short up there in the offensive line. You got your backup quarterback of the future. I'm not saying your quarterback of the future, but you have a backup quarterback, you know what I'm saying, that allows you a window to still draft if you're in the top 10, top 5, or even top 15 with next year's draft. If all those quarterbacks come out or they're all really good, you can get some really good talent even down to the teens in next year's draft. Or if it doesn't happen that way, or you don't want to go quarterback first round next year, it still allows you a window that if you do want to set up your plan, which I think, I mean, it's just my little, I guess, conspiracy theory here when it comes to NFL franchises, especially one like the Giants. If you want to set yourself up for Arch coming out his senior year, not his junior year, it still allows you that window where you got a guy who's in there and you're still building your roster through the next couple drafts, to have it more complete. So all he has to do is slide right in there to play for the Giants, because the other thing too is it's no guarantee that Arch Manning is going to be the number 1 overall pick. He's good, but I haven't seen like crazy good yet, but he's good enough. Off the name alone, he's going to be a first rounder. We all know that shit. But I think he's good enough to where he could be in the teens. He could be in the teens, and shit, best case scenario, let's say if the Giants are that good with, you got an Abdul Carter, you got Burns there. If Kayvon Thibodeau is still there and turn shit up some more, and then you got Holland and all these and Paulson Adebo and Banks start playing, you might fuck around being in the 20s. He could fall to the 20s, or you just get a whole different talent in the 20s that's still really good for your franchise, but you're still competing, this year, and then have a chance to compete to get to the playoffs next season, draft a QB of the future, and then really start competing for a bigger window for the next 3 to 5 years and being in the playoffs again and again and again. So this is what I would do here for the Giants, drafting these players right here that I brought up from basically round 1 to round 6. I didn't go all the way down to round 7. By that point, I didn't know what the rest. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't know what the rest of the needs would have been. Of course, some extra guys I was looking at corner, maybe a receiver. They could take some other players there as well. But that's what I would do, and I think that they should do. Just focus on building, squad around, who you want to have in as the guy at quarterback. Build that squad right now or the next couple of years so you got that guy in the next couple of years and everything like that. So it's more of a complete roster instead of drafting a QB to be like your savior and then start, trying to motherfucking, scramble around and build a roster around him while he's getting fucked up and going through the bruises and lumps of being a young quarterback in the league, and then you find out he might fuck around and be a bust. I'd rather do it the other way. But with that being said here, that's going to wrap up this quick one. Welcome to the franchise here for me. Y'all out there, be easy.